The background music there.
Oh, yeah. Just keep with the music. I'll be good.
All right, here we go. Hey, what's happening? Rio Rancho B2B, the network. Luisito de la Noche, and it is, yes, bright early, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. on Wednesday, October 30th, and we're here at the beautiful Cafe Bella, located right over here in just on the inside.
Far south.
Just on the inside of the border.
Yep.
Between Rio Rancho and Albuquerque. And so, folks, that's right. We are broadcasting live from Rio Rancho, Nuevo Mexico.
We are.
Rio Rancho B2B, the network, B2B, just for those of you guys that are not familiar, it is business to business.
It is.
I'm not sure what that means fully, but here we are. We've got the delightful Mr. Michael Gonzalez.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. A.K.A. Gonzo.
AKA.
How long have we known each other now?
A couple minutes.
About a couple minutes, yes.
It's been, let me see, probably, I'm going to say 14 years, maybe?
Hey,
About 14 years.
About 14 years, probably. That's my guess.
So a couple of minutes is my line.
About 14 years, yeah.
Yeah, about 14 years is my guess.
And in our world, that's an eternity.
That's forever.
It's
More than a decade, man.
Forever.
More than most marriages.
Wow.
All right, I'm going to where you're sharing stuff. I want to make sure. I'm going to tell you guys a quick story, right? In that 14 years that we've known each other, we've had an opportunity to work with each other in several different capacities.
Absolutely.
Under several different circumstances, both good and bad. Most of the time ugly.
All good.
Now we've done a lot, and now we're doing this show here, and we get to do it all by ourselves today because our producer Amber Ortega is living the life in Vegas right now.
We're running thin on the operational side. We've got 45% of our team absent, not in-house.
Not in-house,
but have no fear, because we're grabbing people off the street.
That's for sure.
Setting them down to be guests in the lovely show.
Yeah, exactly. So you got
Walker.
So here's what happens, right?
Amber's online watching. I see.
Is she online? Good morning, Amber.
There she is.
Yes.
Hello,
So
Amber.
chime in, Amber. Let us know if you can hear us loud and clear, because I got to tell you a funny story. So yesterday, we started the show. All right, there we go. See, we're good to go. We're good to go. I'm just going to back off of that a little bit there.
You're going to have to turn Tony down. I can hear Tony all the way
Can you hear
over here.
Tony all the way over here?
Yeah.
All right, Tony.
Yeah.
Come on, Tony.
Tony's got an ad.
We love Tony. Tony's got an ad.
No,
we
Tony's
need to
good.
get back to the good old Oso Miley. So
There we go.
Amber's not here. Yesterday we did a show, and sadly, I took the microphone levels and I dropped them a bit. And what I didn't realize is that I completely dropped them out altogether. And so we had this wonderful show. It was Coach B, the two-time world champion coach.
Yeah.
And Donna Hollingsworth from Paul Davis Company.
Right. A builder? Paul Davis? Yeah.
Actually, they're a what do you call them? There's a specific name, but remediation.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Company.
I'm
right?
familiar with that. Like
yes.
biohazard, fatalities, things like that.
Fire,
everything. Any kind
flooding,
of damage.
any kind of damage.
That's big in this
Yes.
market.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
it is.
there's a number of companies that do that. That's wonderful.
All right, so Amber's giving us the thumbs up that we sound okay.
She says, A-okay. Well, that's great.
Okay, now my next question for you, Amber, is how do we look?
How do we look?
Yeah.
She says, that's way better.
Well, she's talking about the sound, not the looks there.
That's way better.
She's talking about the sound, not the looks there.
Yeah. I don't know. How do we look?
So how do we look? We're going to ask Amber. She's going to reply to that here soon. So, yeah, I was totally bummed out about that show yesterday because we were talking about some really interesting things. And because this show is about entrepreneurs, it's about small businesses and delivering bite-sized nuggets that they can take and apply to their business immediately.
Nice.
Got all choked up.
Bless you.
We had a great conversation about that, and Amber says we look great.
Well, that's nice. Thank you, Amber.
Thanks, Amber.
Thanks, Amber.
I was very brokenhearted when I learned that we didn't have any sound, and so we're going to relive that today. The topic came up yesterday about multi-level marketing, right? Is it a legitimate business? And what is my personal take on it, right? And
Big topic.
Really big topic. Amber wants to check out our shoes. I don't know if we can do that.
Not happening.
Not happening, right?
Sorry, Amber.
We do have a special guest, Amber, and well, she's not wearing shoes.
Yeah, she walked all the way from the
She's not
San Juan.
wearing shoes. Right? You're not wearing shoes, are you?
I'm not wearing shoes.
That is a correct statement.
She is not wearing shoes. She's wearing botas.
I'm wearing botas con compression socks.
Nice.
Botas and compression socks.
I too am a fan of a little compression around the arch, the arc.
That happens. All right, so
Yeah.
I'm going to make the introduction so that we can fully do this the correct way. Okay.
Let's get it rocking.
Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from over there, specializing in corporate events, special events, entertainment, cultural talent, production, right?
Big.
She is the entertainment guru in the land that we call Nuevo Mexico.
Well, I don't know
Ladies
about that, but
and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Danette Lovato.
Yay!
thank you. I
Good
don't know
morning.
about all that. That's a great introduction. I'll take it.
So you can appreciate this, right? I too am in the music industry. In fact,
What?
yes, Gonzo gave me one of my first clients way back in the day. We won't talk about that, but
Whoa!
I'd like to
I had no idea.
already.
I had no idea.
but my job is as a promoter. It always has been a promoter of our culture, our history. I've had the wonderful opportunity to work in the New Mexico Spanish music industry for about 15, 20 years now, and about 10 of those as a promoter. And I got to tell you, it's one of those skills that you definitely have to have in your bloodstream, because if you don't, then you'll never be able to make an introduction like what I just made for you.
And roll off of it.
And roll right
Very
off
nice.
of it.
Very nice.
So Danette's like, okay, so where's the script? We're like, there is not a script
That
here
was
at this show.
that conversation actually happened. I'll
Yeah.
verify that.
Where's
Yeah.
the script?
The script.
Reminded me of the lady. Where's the beef?
Yeah, exactly.
An impromptu
Old
is
school.
a definite confirmation that what's going to come out is the truth.
Well,
Most times.
and that's the
Most times.
that's the idea here is that we're real, we're raw, we're relevant,
Right.
and those are all things that if you apply those things to your life, then you'll see magical things happen in your life, right? When you become real, raw, and relevant, right?
And
Real.
I'm still wondering what the script is, because let's see, yesterday was entrepreneurship, today is multi-level marketing, which
Well,
I know nothing about.
There's just like a general umbrella, and
Yeah.
then everything falls under that. Yeah.
So the show itself is about entrepreneurship and small business, and it's geared towards small business owners and entrepreneurs.
Localized.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
local, right? And the idea is that we have industry experts or city officials come out and
Content
tell us,
experts,
tell
public
us-
servants. Yeah.
give
You
us
name it.
give us a scoop on different things, right? And today we have somebody from the entertainment industry that I believe business owners can learn a lot from, right? Entrepreneurs
yeah.
can learn a lot from,
Completely
right?
unexpected, uninvited, yet here I am.
Well, hold on now. We did invite you to sit down, so does that
Right.
qualify as an
That
invitation?
does. It does.
The way that I recall this, I was invited
She just
sit
came to
down
say hi.
and kind
Right.
of sound check here.
She was like, "Hey," I was like, "Can you sit there? I want to make sure I got
Well,
the
you did
camera
great.
angle correct."
Yeah, you
And
did
now we're
great.
live.
You did
Yes.
great. Yeah.
Well, and we do that for a reason, right? Because it's, a lot of folks sometimes will shy away from the opportunity, right, to sit down and interview or sit down and have a conversation. They just simply put will, unless we trick them into it.
Yeah, and I think I need a little
We're-
bucket over here below my hands because they're sweating like crazy.
What a great day for that to happen. The glass is always half full.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Well,
you.
Amber's like that. She gives us a little pushback when we ask her to come on.
Oh
sometimes.
yeah,
Sometimes.
no, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
I have to
absolutely.
meet Amber.
Yeah,
Look
she's
forward
great.
to that.
You've met Amber before.
Oh, I probably
In
Oh,
a-
you have.
Probably
yes,
in different
yeah.
circles, yeah.
In a different circle, you've met
Should
Amber
have.
before. So really quickly, I want people to really understand exactly who you are. Some of your accolades. Tell us about some of your biggest moments in your entertainment career.
Wow.
you go.
Okay, I guess,
Just highlights.
biggest moments just kind of go hand in hand with other big moments, right?
Absolutely.
So I think one of the very first one that I can give credit to is another person who said, you want to get into this industry, you want to be a part of this business, here's the keys to my office, to my file cabinet. Dig in there, see what you can find, and do what you're going to do in this
Wow.
industry. Joe Buffalino.
Buffalino.
And so therefore my entertainment contract is mirrored after Steppenwolf.
Is
Wow.
that right?
It's a Steppenwolf contract.
Steppenwolf.
Who remembers them?
Yeah, of course. Steppenwolf.
We lost.
I would put them on, but
we lost a certain portion of our demographic. We'll have to explain to people that was a very popular 60s, 70s group, like huge.
Not a
So-
Halloween costume.
Yeah.
not a Halloween costume, right?
Steppenwolf was, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was significant. I'd say another significant portion of this was the whole reason that I probably landed up as an entrepreneur in business for myself is that you want to raise a family.
Yep.
And especially as a woman that you're carrying the child 9 months and, eventually delivery and everything else that comes after that, I was able to, roll my business with my satchel that had a zipper compartment out of
Nice.
3 and one was filled with diapers and bottles.
Yep.
And in the delivery room, I had my, my books, my phone
Booking
and everything
sheets
that I
and everything.
needed
Yeah,
to continue
nice.
working.
Nice.
That was probably everybody talks about the laptop lifestyle now, right?
Is that a thing?
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Cool.
Right? The laptop lifestyle.
I like
right?
it. I'll go with
you
it.
get to hang out at Cafe Bella all day long.
You can do
How about
that.
the ThinkPad? It makes you think.
Jump
There
on
you
their
go.
jump on their
I
Wi-Fi
think that-
network.
Yeah, I think
right?
that one's copyright or patent. Yeah.
Get all your work. But you, back in the day before laptops were even in anybody's thoughts.
Oh yeah, like the brick cell phone.
Before it was electronic. I came
Before
to town with
electronic,
one
yeah.
of those.
Remember the brick?
Motorola,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah,
You guys
yeah,
don't
yeah.
even remember the brick.
Oh, of course.
I
of
had the
course.
Motorola with the extra battery, so it was extra large.
I
yeah.
remember in high school, I went to
Yeah.
Rio Grande High School for my freshman year, and there was this dude named Tommy, and Tommy had the Mustang, the 5.0.
Oh, wow. It's
With
like
the sound
Vanilla Ice.
system. Yeah, like Vanilla Ice, right? And then he had the brick phone.
Yep.
He was all about it.
Yeah. It was good times, man. But you created that lifestyle way back when you said, you know what, I'm going to be a mompreneur.
Mompreneur. I love that.
Everything.
Mompreneur,
Hashtag,
right?
I'm going to put
Wear
that
all the
up.
hats, everything you can
Hashtag
be, whatever you need to be
mompreneur.
at the moment.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. See, so people can learn a lot from you.
I don't know
Right.
about that, but here I am.
Well, I'll submit to say that it takes a specific work ethic for you to pursue that, right? Because a lot of folks, and I can tell you from experience, right? I've got a 5-year-old daughter, and to me, when she was small, when she was born, my world stopped.
Or at least it changed, shifted gears.
Yeah.
Shifted gears,
That's for
right?
sure.
And a lot of things that I was really pushing, I stopped pushing for. Does that make sense?
Well,
Uh-huh.
your interest and focus changes.
it changes, yeah.
And there's a lot of good things written about that, and
Yep.
and a lot of thought behind that, and it forces you to be an adult, even if you don't want to.
Even if you don't want to.
Well, I think it's more so about tapping into your inner compass and try to be in tune with the direction that it's taking you.
See,
Absolutely, that's beautiful.
I knew
Does she
you-
write?
I knew you would just drop some
Does she
knowledge.
write? Does she write?
Do you write?
No,
No. Just did.
I am a zero talent when it comes
I
to
don't know. That was
entertainment
pretty
or
deep.
anything like that. I am just a total lover and appreciator of
Oh,
arts
that's awesome. That's
and
awesome.
culture and talent and
There you
people,
go.
people in general and everything.
Well, I just put mompreneur, hashtag mompreneur out there. Maybe we can just roll with that.
Oh, that's cool.
Hashtag mompreneur.
You know, a lot of girls do seem to be interested when I talk to them about how I make it
That's awesome.
in life,
Good man.
mostly as a single mom.
That's awesome.
4 kids.
Well, and that's important to know, right? Because I'll call it exactly the way it is, right? That's kind of our culture here. Sadly, there are many households here
parents,
that
yeah.
are single parent
Single
households,
parents,
right?
yeah, we talked about that.
And sometimes single parent households, might feel a little trapped because they're the sole provider for the family. They may not have the best of jobs, or they may even be underemployed, right? But never really having the opportunity to get out and do anything that is going to excel their pocketbook.
So I'm going to throw a spin on that and take it to
Throw
the up note.
Do
Okay.
it.
Right?
Do it. I wanna
Okay,
hear
so
this.
so on the up note of that, then being a single parent could actually be the fuel that builds the fire
Exactly.
to really
Motivation,
right,
yeah.
as I said, tap into your inner person, and because it's on you and you get to really, go with what your interests, ideas, thoughts, and
That's
desires may be for whatever puts you into that situation of being the single parent.
Awesome.
That's what I was trying to tap into. That right there was that
dropped
was that
him.
fire? No,
She just
really,
dropped
right?
it, man. I love it.
So at the end of the day, right? Excuses. You get rid of them, right? And you take what you have. You take the cards that are dealt to you, and you play your best hand, right?
Yeah, you are your own biggest enemy, and it's your, self thoughts, your ideas, your mind
Comfort zone,
inside of
yep.
yourself. That's the, challenge that you have to work with and make those choices and decisions on what direction and path you're going to take. Are you going to cuddle up on the couch? And it's okay to do that when you need to. However, on the bigger picture, what that, big goal and dream is that might be inside of you, you may not even be able to identify it. But if you just kind of pull yourself in that direction that it seems to be drawing you, then you're likely to land where you need to be.
I like that.
Momentum.
There you go. If there's any piece of advice that you take from the show today, that is it right there, right? You have what it takes right inside of you.
Fabulous.
I think we all do.
You
Yeah,
just-
we
you-
definitely all do.
You just got to move
Awesome.
the excuses out of the way.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, you know what? A lot in life is about social services and social environment, and social services are something that we all need to do for our own self-esteem and our own self-building and our own self rewards for what we do. We need to be in tune with what brings us up, what brings us down, and try to find some kind of a middle place that we can enjoy our peaks and our lows and still come out of it on a plateau.
Awesome.
I agree with you. I just put up a graphic, a meme, a day in the life of an entrepreneur, right? And it starts off, and it
Is that
says,
the iceberg one?
I'm excited, right? And then it dips down. This is hard.
Right.
And then they swing way back up. Everything's working, right? And then
Yeah.
it dips back down again, saying, I messed up.
Whoops.
And then it goes up there.
And that's true.
Give up the good for the great. And then it dips way below.
Right.
Am I going bankrupt? But that is the life, right? And so of the entrepreneur, but I think, excuse me, just in general, that's just the general mindset of a lot of folks.
I'll drop it on the feed.
Is that they're not, there's a way to living your life, right? And all the elements that are part of living life, right? It's important for you to really
Recognize what makes you peak.
exactly.
Yeah, and with that, you also need to recognize what doesn't work for you. And I found out, a lot about myself in industry, in what are, what could be termed limitations, disabilities, and dysfunctional characteristics. In that, I am not a 9 to 5 punch the clock, 10-minute, 15-minute break, 30-minute lunch. I mean, I'm dysfunctional. I do not work in that environment. I'm
Right.
not.
That's
it,
true
it
for a
doesn't.
lot
It
of
just
people.
doesn't
Yeah.
tick.
Yeah.
My TikTok doesn't tick that way.
The tick doesn't talk. Yeah. That's
I can understand that. I think that's why most entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs in the first place, is that they do not jive.
Yeah, we're okay with like
Yeah.
a 18, 19-hour day, 3 days in a row, balloon fiesta, pull it off, and
Right.
just make it happen, because you've got hundreds of thousands of people that are happy, and it's making you happy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that.
it's a different path.
Yes, different paths. So there you go. Now you know. If you want to reach out to Danette, you can do so. Is it okay if I put your phone number out there?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, cool. Her direct phone number is 505-615-9355. If you need entertainment for anything that you have going on, please reach out to her. If you need coordination of your event, or if you just need somebody to make your event magical.
You just want to put on an event
Or
because
if you-
you
yeah,
feel that it's
she's a
something
pro.
that you want to introduce and do. And then something, I'm going to throw out a little teaser there on something to come, and it's the hub. It's an environment that creative minds and creative people
Cool.
will be able to socialize, get together, and really collaborate for things that they might later on walk out and take to their office and create something out of it.
Where's this hub going to be located, situated?
TBA.
Looking
And,
for a home. Currently shopping
currently
for the
looking
best
for a home.
location.
Well, and I asked that for a reason. You know that I'm a connector of people, places, and things, and I've got space that you may want to consider for at least a launch or a start of
Incubation.
you know.
I can tell you
something.
that this week on Friday, the initial in beta is going to take place in the village of Los Ranchos. Go Los Ranchos
Ooh.
and
Little
Valley
dry run.
Vikings.
Yeah, a little dry run. Nice.
Los Ranchos.
Nice. Nice.
Beautiful,
Uh-huh.
beautiful.
Will you have social media up on that? Is it going to have, how do people connect? Just because this is
Right now, it's by invitation because
Okay,
the
gotcha.
Collaborations of Minds is actually creating the entity.
Gotcha.
But it's a forming stage, and it's going to be awesome for
Nice.
people
Sounds
in
great.
general.
I love it.
looking to see more.
That's
And
that's something that we've needed here for quite some time. Really, it's something to open up the doors of collaboration within the entertainment world, and I'm going to say that both on the musical side as well as the film and art side. One of the sad realities is that we live in envidia.
I don't.
Most
Yeah.
people of industry do.
I
for
learned
whatever
that
reason.
term. I learned that term in 1972 when I moved to New Mexico.
There you go. Right.
That's
there
the
you
first
go.
time I've ever heard it, so you guys have to fill me in.
We're talking about, just the jealousy amongst each other, right? It happens in business too, right?
Friendly competition?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say friendly competition, but the idea here simply put
Hostile
is that
takeover?
the hub is going to open up the doors for those collaborations to happen.
Instead of competition, it's collaboration.
Bringing the
Yeah.
people together.
That's healthy.
Yes.
Mentorship. Yeah, that's healthy.
Just like Depot.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, like a
and
lot of
the Cafe Bella
You create
Paleta.
a community of entrepreneurs. That's awesome.
What's up with it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
No, the Cafe Bella Paleta.
Have you tried to capture Depot lately with his 5 openings?
What is that?
He's a gentleman that's the primary brainchild of Paletta Bar, and he's how many locations did he say they're going to be at?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
He's
went from
opening
like
a number of retail outlets right now.
So
3 to like 20.
Is that
and-
the Paleteria that's at the National Hispanic Cultural Center? in the open
No,
on
that's
North
Pop
First Street?
Fizz.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Pop Fizz was one of the few people that got recognized at the legislature this year.
Awesome.
For the, where's my little pin?
It's
The
in here,
SBDC
yeah.
Small Business
Yes.
Development Center Network.
Yeah.
So
I
got to
worked
know
on that
them.
project.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's a good- that's a good
good people,
platform.
good
Oh,
business.
Yeah.
that is the only manufacturing plant in New Mexico for paletas.
Nice.
Did you know that?
Nice.
Entrepreneurship.
Well, I'm talking about mass production, right?
Food production's different than a restaurant.
But it started
Absolutely.
with
Yeah.
Papa and the Boys and
Yeah.
little, frozen carts that
Yep.
we all are familiar with, and little bell ringing, and that's Ice Cream Man.
They have an incredible story. In fact, maybe we'll get them out here.
The
One day.
FDA gets involved with that
Mexicano
process.
style, but hey, that's good. And guess what? All natural.
Yeah, and
love
these are probably the two the most hippest hipsters you know.
Really? We'll have to get some hip from them.
Some hips.
Yep.
Some hips and nips.
Absolutely.
All right, Danette. Well, we certainly do appreciate you taking a little bit of time to visit with us. and,
Impromptu, yeah.
Impromptu. I know that we
Here
were
we go.
just we were using your
Something.
presence to make sure we got a good camera angle there. But
Thank
always
you.
always delightful to talk to you.
And she looks great. Look at that. Look
I
at
know.
the glow.
Yes.
Wonderful.
It's my addiction. I'm back on espresso.
There you go.
Well, you're in the right place for that.
Yeah, we'll get you
Cafe
handled.
Bella. Yep.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely.
He can take care of that for you there, right? In
Yep.
fact, we're going to give the microphone over to Gonzo Michael Gonzalez,
Hello.
and
Yeah. So thank you, Danette. Once again, it was a pleasure making your acquaintance. We look forward
My
to
pleasure.
getting with you in the future because we between Luis and I, we always have plenty of events going on. So you may hear from us. And it's been a chilly morning. We've got our producer, Amber, watching a careful eye from afar. Amber is out there. Hello to Isaac. Isaac just joined. You might know Isaac as DJ Hump, local DJ that does the nightlife scene here. You can find him at Santa Ana, Sandia, you can find him all over, Imbibe, all over the place. DJ Hump.
DJ who?
DJ Hump, Isaac Humphrey.
Oh,
Yeah, he just hopped online.
Hey, what's happening?
Yeah.
Isaac.
Yeah, so we're live streaming all over. So we'll see who can do what. We're getting ready for our next guest here. Danette, let's not forget your purse because you might want that.
You may want that.
And coming right up, and your keys.
And your keys.
Coming
Now
right
hang out right there, Danette. If you
Yeah.
wouldn't mind doing me
Matt.
a huge favor, you may have to adjust that
We are live.
to
We are live.
to get Matt in
Commercial
here.
breaks, no pauses.
No commercial breaks, no
right in.
pauses.
Just like we
Oh,
talked to
we
Danette.
could do a quick commercial break.
Yeah. Oh, Matt's good. He's golden. He knows.
I can totally do
In
that.
his
for
off
you.
time, he does like CNN stuff. Can't phase him.
All right,
You can't phase him.
I'm gonna let Michael give you a proper introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, and the World Wide Web via Facebook Live, Rio Rancho Business to Business. This morning, we'd like to welcome our next guest, Matt Geisel of the Rio Rancho Economic Development and more. Matt, thank you for coming down, and good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
Good
How you
morning.
been?
Good morning. Thanks for coming on short notice. I know you're a busy guy. You had like 3 meetings this morning. Is that correct?
The 1.5.
1.5?
But yeah, I had to like do some maneuvering to be here by
That's
on
great.
time. So
That's wonderful. Well, thanks for coming down. As I mentioned, we did all this via text, Luis.
That-
This
you
is
know-
a text booking.
I got to tell you that is the way of the world, and
is.
people do business via text or via smoke signal. Yeah.
Yep, there he is. I'm showing
that's
Matt.
you right
He's-
there.
He's live on the air.
I haven't mastered my smoke signal
No, not yet.
scheduling technique quite yet, but
Well,
at some point I'll get there. Okay.
We're going to teach that class here. It's
Yeah.
probably going to be a Friday night class here at Cafe Bella.
Out back, rub some sticks
yeah,
together. Why
rub
not?
some sticks together. We'll
Why
get
not?
everybody, in tune with how to properly send smoke signals.
Smoke signals. Absolutely. Well, Matt, thanks for coming down. We're so excited, and congratulations on your recent assignment. We're happy to have you back in Rio Rancho. Many of you out there may know that Matt was at the state level for a while, and now he's back in the most amazing city of Rio Rancho, and it's such a great opportunity to have him back. So Matt has a long history with Rio Rancho, and went up to do some fantastic stuff at the state level. Tell us a little bit about that experience, just to
Yeah,
recap.
Michael knows Matt. Luis does not.
Oh,
know
I'm
Matt.
so sorry. How do you not know Matt? I am so sorry, Louis.
But certainly an opportunity to learn about you. So please tell
Yeah,
us
do it
about
cold.
what you did here in Rancho and what you did up at state and what you're back to do now.
Oh, sounds
Yeah,
good. And
yeah.
Luis, I know you through LinkedIn fame, so you're
Yes.
pretty prolific on LinkedIn posting. And yes, Michael, LinkedIn is the only form of social media that I use because you're asking me about Facebook yesterday.
You know what? It's a
So-
choice. Well, you go with the platform you're comfortable with. That's what I say.
So,
Well, LinkedIn is making strides. They're
getting in the game.
They're getting in the game. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
they're changing. Yeah.
In fact, we'll be able to live stream this show to LinkedIn here fairly soon.
Oh, that'll be great.
So
Yeah.
So Matt, you'll be a star.
I don't know about that, but I'm in public service. I'm behind the scenes type of guy. But get just a little background since you guys brought it up.
Sure.
So I've boomeranged back to the city of Rio Rancho.
Yay!
I worked in the city of Rio Rancho for 8 years from 2009 through 2016, and
Great.
came to New Mexico in 2005 for a job opportunity here that brought me to Rio Rancho. Moved to
Nice.
Rio Rancho in 2005, and it was one of those classic land of entrapment stories that everyone likes
Hilarious.
to kind of tell.
It's so beautiful here.
Yeah, you kind of chuckle because
Yeah.
I got the phone call from a headhunter
Right.
in 2005.
Imagine that,
Early 2005. They're like, we have a job opportunity in Albuquerque, New Mexico area, and would you be interested? And I responded yes, and the headhunter was like, this is private sector.
Sure.
Worked for a land developer, residential home builder, residential developer.
I remember that. That's
Pulte
where we
Homes.
met.
Yeah,
We met like that.
and that's what brought me here, Pulte Homes, and
Uh-huh.
they're still very active in this market. Just having recovered from the economic downturn, the big housing bubble.
Right.
But long story short, is I get this phone call, and the headhunter's like, we have an opportunity in New Mexico, Albuquerque metro area. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then the headhunter was from the upper Midwest, just like pause, and there's this like awkward pause for like 15 seconds, and then I start chuckling. I go, let me guess. She's like, what? you've called, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 25 candidates so far.
120.
And every time you say, we have a job opportunity in New Mexico, you get responses like, I don't want to live overseas.
Yeah,
I don't speak
nice.
Spanish.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
she said, how did you know? But long story is, we as a family had been
hilarious.
vacationing in New Mexico since I was about 10, 11, 12 years
So
old.
you had a familiarity,
Yeah, real
yeah.
familiarity. Learned how to ski at Ski Santa Fe.
Oh, nice.
And so it was a great opportunity to get from the East Coast back to the western half of the United States
Right.
and close to where my family is in Southern California.
Wonderful.
And anyways, fast forward, took a job with the city of Rio Rancho in early 2009. Wore many different hats there.
Yeah.
Working with our Convention Visitors Bureau, which gave me a lot of exposure to our local business community.
Absolutely.
And that led to some of those, Taste of Rio Rancho and restaurant marketing programs where we
Yeah.
really cut our teeth, you and I, back in the day, Michael.
Absolutely.
And
Pioneer he was.
I don't know about that.
I
But,
like that.
but it's really, I mean, we kind of coalesced around the opportunity and the importance of supporting local business in our community.
That's great.
I mean, we do have a component of our community that that commutes elsewhere to work,
Yep.
and obviously does a lot of their shopping behaviors outside of city limits
Sure.
because of where they work, their commuting patterns and things like that. And it's always important just to accentuate what's here in this community and how many unique
Absolutely.
things that we have. And
Yep.
we talk about the boom of breweries in New Mexico, and you're like, Nico and Turtle Mountain was like the first penguin or one of the first penguins to jump in. And
27, 28 years ago.
yeah, I mean,
think.
and
he's so humble about it.
Yeah, they were just way out there back in the
Yeah.
day, and and then Joe's Pasta House. People constantly say like, "What an original!" It's like the
Right.
true New York
Right.
style, Brooklyn style
Pasta and
Italian
sauce.
food.
Yeah,
the
nice.
Italian food and things of that sort. But as my role at the city morphed into economic development, I went up to the state of New Mexico, and I spent 2.5 years as the Secretary of Economic Development
How about that, Luis?
up in Santa Fe, and that was a really fantastic experience professionally, and helping communities across the state try to make a difference with their local conditions, their local communities. And
Great.
what makes the headlines in economic development is the big recruitments, but the exciting
Big
part,
brands, yeah,
the-
because people understand what that is.
the exciting part of the economic development job when I was up in Santa Fe was helping homegrown New Mexican enterprises
Small startups, yeah.
grow, and also working with the startup community. We have a really exciting startup community starting to take foot in New Mexico, and that
Nice.
could be a potential game changer for us. So that was
Good news.
Yeah, that was really exciting. And there was news yesterday, this week alone. There was two Albuquerque startups have received Series A funding. One group,
Excellent.
Empower, raised about $2 million, and another group, I'm going to get their name wrong, but it's some sort of a medical related
Excellent.
SaaS. They raised $16 million. So those are
Oh, wow.
That's
pretty
great.
exciting stuff. But after the state job, and I'll bring this full circle to why
Sure.
I boomerang back to Rio Rancho, is I did some site selection consulting.
Sure.
And I started to realize how much I miss the government and the governing, the public policy
Sure.
side, the impact side, and the mission side of public service, and trying to do something for, a little altruistic and for the greater good. And
Right.
having stayed in close contact with Mayor Hall, over
Mayor
the last
Greg Hall?
3.5 years, it presented an opportunity to come back and do economic development in a community I love, focus on the mission, focus on the impact, and try to make a
great.
difference.
That's great. That's amazing. There's a lot of information there. So much going on, so much happening. But the different view to start here.
I think that's a phenomenal story,
Yeah.
and just the fact that that you didn't shy away from the opportunity to come to New Mexico, and there was you had a little bit of history here, in the state.
You knew where it was
You were at
geographically.
least a little familiar with it, right? But just that simple fact that you've taken the opportunity and you've expanded on it, speaks volumes for yourself in terms of your capabilities and whatnot. But the idea of being a champion for the small guys.
He is, and it's dynamic because, Matt living and working in the area, of course, we'd see him here as a customer, in small meetings here when it was appropriate. But I tell you, I'd be doing an event somewhere.
Yep.
We'd be like 8 o'clock in the morning with like 900 cars in the parking lot of Santa Ana Star Center Event Center, getting ready to head to some other entity. And then here comes some guy on a bike. And, hey, Mike. And I'm like, who's calling me? I turn around and there's Matt on a bike at 8 o'clock in the morning at one of our events, just seeing what was going on.
Yeah,
Staying connected. And
Connect. You're right.
you know, he had already rode like 35 miles. I'm sure he's going another 35. Quite the health nut. But yeah, I mean, it's that kind of thing. You know, it's kind of like we talk about Mayor Greg Hall being accessible and being plugged into the community, not just on the news or in the journal or in the business section. But yeah, Matt's boots on the ground. He's out there, busy, doing what it takes to get it done. That's awesome. I've always admired that about him.
Absolutely. You're in the new role. What is it? About a month now?
Yeah, a month and a half,
About a
somewhere
month
around
and a
there.
half.
Yeah.
Okay. About a month and a half. Did you bring new vision with you?
You know, it's first of all, it's one of the things I joke around. It's like people ask me, what's it like to be back, and I'm like, things are still the same, but things have changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, the world doesn't stop evolving.
Yeah.
And it's been 3 years since I left. But it's been good. I mean, it's trying to spend a lot of time just kind of recalibrating and reacclimating. I have purposely recognizing that some things are the same, but things have also evolved.
Sure.
And not I try never to go into a situation thinking I know everything, and never to go into a situation thinking I know more than other people. It's kind of go in.
Come
with
on, that's the New Mexico way.
But just try to go in with from looking at it as I have a deficit of knowledge, and
Sure.
I need to acquire knowledge in this process to be effective. And that's really what I've been trying to do so far the last few weeks and my first few months is focus on that recalibration, that the recalibration, reacclimating, fact finding.
Yeah.
I think what coming back to this role, there's I see that there's still a strong sense of community and civic pride in Rio Rancho, and
Right.
Absolutely.
and I think it's trending in the right direction, trending back in that direction, and Mayor Hall has a strong commitment to small business, so he wants to make sure we focus on small business.
Yeah.
Lots of times in economic development, there's this notion of people chasing rainbows, unicorns, and elephants, and things of that sort, and that has an important role. But one of the things I talk a lot about when we think about economic development is like and in both, not or.
Right.
We want to think about small business. We want to think about new business formation, startup activity. We want to think about who's here, how do we help them grow. And we also want to think about how we attract new companies. And so it's not a versus or an or, but it's an and. It's an and and a both, and that's a big piece of it. And what I would say, between the state job and then spending most of this year doing some site selection consulting is getting that opportunity to see things, other communities, other parts of the country, other parts of the globe even, and say, okay, how do we, formulate our own unique selling proposition? How do we stack up, quote unquote, versus the competition? How do we, look at our assets and continue to grow? Economic growth, economic development, which ultimately causes economic growth and economic health and vibrance it's the accumulation of many things, not one big unicorn, not one big elephant.
There's not a single win.
Yeah, there's not one single thing, and so I think that's part of I don't say it's a fresh idea,
Right.
But it's that realization, and I think sometimes, I'll be honest, I think as with many other parts of the country, we in New Mexico and in Rio Rancho, Albuquerque Metro, and things like that, and this happens elsewhere. We think there is one big unicorn out there that's going to save the day, and that's not what it's about.
Right.
Some people hold on to that pretty tight.
And trust me, I'd like to get some unicorns.
Yeah.
But I'd also, there's other stuff along the way that's really important that can make a difference.
That's one of the I couldn't agree more. It's probably the biggest realization of myself having the opportunity to grow up in a major market. I grew up in Seattle. It was a Boeing baby.
Yeah.
We moved up there from New Mexico during the Boeing aerospace boom. And I've seen long term the ramifications of a city, even a major city, attaching themselves to one industry, and the vulnerability and pitfalls of that. There was some severe losses when the contracts didn't come through. Some of the older listeners and viewers might remember those billboard signs that were famous in Seattle. Someone did the last one to leave, turn the lights out. And that was on billboards because people were leaving. I remember my father telling me of stories of people leaving their homes, fully furnished with brand new furniture.
Oh, wow.
Brand new cars in the garage and pets, and just leaving because they had
Really?
no way out because they were fully invested in one industry. So when I came back to New Mexico
Yeah.
by choice in 1993, I saw the association with some of these large corporations. In the back of my head, I'm like, don't do that. Something
Right.
could happen. So it's interesting to watch it come full circle, especially now. And we'll talk about the elephant in the room. Now that Intel is back doing a new technology, I think we're
Right.
wiser as a community, and hopefully some of that vision will be a little bit more clear. Diversity, like a tree, gives you legs.
Yeah.
If you stand on one root,
Right.
that's volatile, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's
Well-
my 2 cents.
Just like that stand holding up that camera there, right?
Yeah, don't tip it over.
Doesn't have one leg.
Don't tip it over. Don't tip it over.
I mean, it's a tripod, but there's
Yeah.
one of the kind of quips, adages, frameworks, however you want to describe it, in economic development, a three-legged stool.
Right.
And and it's even more faceted. You can think of it, those core three legs being,
Sure.
business retention and expansion, helping companies that are currently in your community
Right.
grow and expand,
Right.
and
Sustainability.
and stay healthy. New business formation, and you can break new business formation down in lots of
Sure.
ways. That's
Subcategories.
tech startups and mom and pop main street
Right.
type
Right.
startups, things that sort, and recruitment. And it's recognizing that those three are the core legs of economic development,
Right.
which then in turn drives that economic growth, vibrance, and health. And you notice how I say economic development, but I'll use some other terms. And
Yeah.
we use this there's this scenario that I say economic development is really loose definition that gets tossed
It is.
around.
It sure
and
is.
it's as a community, I think when as a community or any community, what's your definition of economic development, and how
Right.
does that apply to what you're trying to accomplish?
Right.
And when you're effective at economic development, you'll have economic growth. Economic growth is obviously influenced by many macro level factors,
Sure.
and then health and vibrance, some resilience, and so you can ride out tougher times and also have some good times when things are better.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think it does take that analytical kind of awareness to approach it. It's my opinion that there's a section of the population and the voting public here in our area, the metro area, that some department or some entity is going to come in and wave the magic wand and fix it all. Some of the ideas that I see out there.
There's not a magic wand.
Yeah, no, it's wild. It's
I
wild.
ride a unicorn every morning to work with a magic wand.
It takes work. It takes
With pixie
work.
dust?
Yeah.
With pixie dust, yes.
Yeah.
No, and it's you're absolutely right. I've
takes
seen
work.
that.
Yeah.
I hang my hat in Albuquerque, right? I see that happen quite often. One of the biggest points of contention in Albuquerque is West Side, right?
Sure.
The only
Hot,
place
super hot right now.
The only place for Albuquerque to grow, right? And you have, and
not
you can
landlocked,
appreciate
yeah.
this, right? You got, these different developers that have different ideas, and you have folks that have been there for a long time, and they're concerned about water and all that great
All
stuff.
kinds
And
of
then you
stuff,
have the
yeah.
folks that, want to create that unequal balance of development out there. And we've always been the advocates for let's have that equal balance. Let's get commercial, residential, industrial, happening out there. Let's look at how we can live in the same space and have that same access to.
Gotta have that footprint.
Right. And so that swings all the way up here, right? Because you know as well as I do.
further.
And further, yes,
Yeah.
it does. Well, until you get to,
Algodones.
but they're not making any more plans to build any bridges across the river. At least none that I know of.
My question is, who's they?
Well, exactly, right.
the they?
The state, the county, right?
There is no they, people.
Whoever they are, they're not making any plans anytime soon. So in looking at that, how does that position Rio Rancho for growth, and what do you guys look for in terms of that?
Well, I mean, I think I think speaking kind of
Broadly.
broadly at a high level,
Yeah.
it's not a zero-sum game, and I think that's what you're talking about when the development across the metro areas. It's not a zero-sum game, and you can also put that in that context of what I said earlier of and in both, not versus or.
Right.
And
That's great.
that's I think part of it is recognizing that as we grow, and sometimes it sounds like a cliche, but as the tide rises, all boats float higher, et cetera.
Sure.
But I think Rio Rancho, we all know Rio Rancho's history, go way back to, and then into a modern history of growth. I mean, but we've been a community that offers a great value proposition. Great schools, great quality of life, great economic opportunity, and create that growth. We deal with what we call antiquated platting, so we do have a lot of open land, but antiquated platting does constrain us in some areas, for growth. That said, I mean, we do have some priority areas, for growth. You think about the city center. There are areas of large contiguous land that can support growth. But I think also it's important as we think about Rio Rancho, and this is not a unique concept by any stretch to Rio Rancho, but how do we think about redevelopment? And we have some.
How do we approach it?
Yeah, how do we approach it? Yeah, how do we get the buy-in? We've too many times the thought process, and I'm generalizing, and you could say this goes again beyond Rio Rancho. We think about growth and development in the context of new construction,
Right.
and it's not always new construction.
No.
And if you look at what's happened in many urban cores across the country, over the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, some going further back, and I was in Detroit earlier this summer.
Wow.
And talk about a place that's gone through a real major redevelopment. And
Exactly.
I went downtown Detroit on a Sunday, and I was like, there are people walking around downtown Detroit, and not one or two. I mean, there are hundreds and thousands of people, and but we, in our own way, I think have to start, and it's something that I have top of mind and boomerang back to the city is redevelopment. Where do we, go along cores such, along Southern Boulevard, along 528, golf course, as well as infill. We have places where we have infrastructure at two corners, but not a lot of
Big blank in the middle.
big blank in the middle, and that's obviously from a utilization of city resources, being able to grow on an infill basis doesn't tap the extension of infrastructure as much.
Right.
So that's something that as well I think is real important as we think about the future of Rio Rancho, and redevelopment along key corridors. It's in addition to the business vibrance and the activity that happens, there's an aesthetic component to it, and there's a fascia, and looking at those along that and that factor as well.
A good example is right down the corner here on West Side and Golf Course Road, that Morningstar facility, 77 unit retirement and memory center.
Beautiful.
Out of nowhere. That corner sat vacant forever. Went through a few different things. That project was launched, and then the parent company, Morningstar, took over the project, hired Janes. That thing went up in just a matter of months. And
It was like 2 weeks.
It's amazing. I think they had all of Jane's equipment out there at one point. But, I mean, they made it happen. And, wow, what a change to that intersection now. And it's a beautiful property. That service is greatly needed in our market, taking care of our aging baby boomers and above that deal with different aspects. My family's affected by that, considering my extended family and my intimate family, looking at different options for how do you take care of the older people in your family.
Right.
A lot more options now. And that's great. That's what balances out that community. That's what spreads those legs. And it's nice when it all comes together like that, because that is a beautiful property. It makes the city look good.
Yeah.
It really does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good example of, it's infill in the Rio Rancho context, right?
Right.
I mean,
There you go.
It was, it was a corner. It sat vacant for many years, and now we have a facility that's providing a valuable service, as you mentioned, as well as job creation, employment, tax generation, and everything else. And some of those people might need to buy a cup of coffee.
Right. And it's on this side.
Yeah.
Not on the Albuquerque.
Yes. I mean, they'll go they'll walk up from the facility, go see the podiatrist, Dr. Pincus.
Who I
have to go see every time I break a toe running.
It's funny because...
Or when I crash on my bike. Because the last time I saw my...
Hey, did we just hit Matt? No, because most of those centers have multiple vehicles where they shuttle people around the area to make sure they're safe. And it's really cool. We do get them pulling up here, and you can't miss which one is which because they have the big vinyl on the side of them.
They
take them everywhere.
Absolutely.
And that's awesome.
And so, there's the opportunity right there, right? Is to partner up with those guys, collaborate, right, and get rid of
See what their needs are.
Nvidia.
Yeah. I still don't understand.
Still, he doesn't get it right. Just that
It's because he heard of it like an ozone
Yes,
motley song.
I don't.
Yeah.
You might have.
You're a Nozo Motley.
Yeah.
You're a Nozo head.
Oh, that's a music guy.
Yeah.
too.
All right.
Yeah.
But really, Bruce Springsteen.
Let me tell you why we play Oso Motley.
Tell us, please.
Because anything else that we put on our
Because
broadcast,
they're local and they own 100% of their content.
anything that we put on the broadcast gets taken down.
Yeah.
Everything except Oso Motley.
Yeah.
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 It's fabulous. They'll be here, by the way, next
Because
month.
they've authorized you to use it.
Yeah, something like that.
Easy now. Easy now. As far as I know, he's authorized to use it.
So, other things that I've heard of out here is Define Fitness is going to
The Peterson property.
Yeah, they're going
Or
over to
part of that used to be
is
that.
it?
Matt knows all about that.
I was thinking about this the other day, man. I'm kind of sad. Is Kmart is no longer in this market.
Kmart Sears. Remember
Kmart
they joined
Sears.
together
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
hip?
yeah.
And then they both...
But I remember growing up as a kid, and that's what we went school clothes shopping at Kmart.
Yeah.
Back in the day. They were here before Walmart.
They had
was
the
here.
market. I could
Yeah.
agree with you. In that segment, they had the market.
Right.
And as did Sears for years, decades. But, the whole web thing, being able to order online, Amazon, other large entities. If you can order it in your jammies at 1 o'clock in the morning and get
Right.
exactly what you need in 3 days, that changes commerce completely.
And so is that what we've seen happen to that particular property there? Is that idea that e-commerce has taken over and
Different needs for the community, I'd say. I mean, how many department stores have you been
Right.
to this week? It's different than it
Haven't.
used to be. Well, it's different. It's different. But I guarantee you've seen pop-ups and you've shopped and clicked
Right.
on ads on your phone. So it's a different game now.
we're
It really
we're
is.
gonna get you an ad right on this show here. If you want to order a coffee from Cafe Bella, click
We got
here.
new couches, so just don't even start.
Yeah, you're lucky that we're not broadcasting live from the couches.
Oh no, they're upgraded. Remember?
I know they're upgraded.
Yeah, they do look new from across.
Yeah.
Across the. You're
Yeah,
right in
my
town,
wife
so.
wanted new furniture, so she's like, "Get rid of these." I go, "I have a place."
Did you call Jex?
No, we're storing the other ones.
Oh.
We have a use for them.
So, Michael, let me ask you a question.
Yes,
How long
sir.
have you been in business?
In January, thank you, Matt. In January, we will celebrate our 8th year as a Rio Rancho startup.
That's awesome. And I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. Maybe we
Please do.
take this down the
Please
path
do.
of I'm taking over. This
Let's
is like a
do
little
it.
takeover. But
No, I
love it.
This,
We love freestyle. Go for it.
No, but I mean, I think, because you said you also want to talk about Shop Small Saturday. But so you've been in business for 8 years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I got to tell you, I mean, I tell your story a lot.
That's awesome.
I've told your story in other parts of New Mexico when I was secretary traveling.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, no, it's because,
That's awesome. Thank you.
and maybe I'm throwing some flowers at you when I say this, but man, I'll tell you, I never thought you were going to make it with you.
Oh, no.
And it's just, it amazes me on how, it always impressed me, it always amazed me how you just willed this to success.
I
And-
mean, it's work. It's not like, I had an idea.
yeah, no, I mean, you
Yeah,
just,
no, it takes work.
from the event side, creating events, you just did a lot of things that were
Yeah.
non-traditional, unorthodox.
Uh-huh. Absolutely, we still do.
And
Like
you
this.
still do, yeah. and you made it work. And I mean,
Yeah.
my mom and my sister owned a restaurant for 25 plus years.
God bless
And,
them. God bless them.
So, I mean, I have exposure, let's say, of, in the family, what it's like to be in the service
Right.
industry and,
Right.
and to be in that space and to be independent and carve out your own niche. But,
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe you talk about it a lot, but I mean,
I
8
don't.
years. I
I
mean,
really
just
don't.
give us like
No,
in
I
80
don't.
seconds, give us the highlights.
No, thank
then.
you so much, Matt. That's really nice, especially from your perspective and what you do professionally. I had no idea. That you kind of broadcast our story, but it's a unique thing. I think the perspective in the markets that I grew up in had a lot to do with the vision.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I literally said, why don't we have cafes like we do in neighborhoods in Seattle?
Mm-hmm.
And I was driving 45 minutes over by the base to Michael Thomas Coffee to get a decent bag of locally roasted specialty coffee and
Right.
back. So that's an hour and a half driving to get coffee, and then started on the research. You need 10,000 daytime population within 1 square mile to do a brick and mortar store, and this location fits that bill. And then concept, offerings, and dedication. But no, you're absolutely right. You have to. We're not a franchise. This is a concept of 20 some years in food and beverage business, seeing what works and what doesn't work. Not everything works, but we are an events driven business, and we truly believe it's woven into the fabric of our business is that if you create a culture and a sense of community, that the retail aspect will be the direct byproduct of doing the first two
Right.
correctly. Now, if you jump into this game, and I have had conversations with many people, and we've been fortunate, we've lasted longer than many other businesses in the same sector in this market. You can't just jump in with the sales. You'll never beat the corporate guys. You can't beat Del Taco on Taco Tuesday because they're like 49 cents.
Right. So I want you to go back to that, and I want you to say that a couple of more times.
You can't beat Del. No.
Not that. Before all
No,
that,
the
right?
retail part?
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's not about where you get the best deal. It's not a cheap sell. Okay? We at this business started out being what I call a cost plus business. And people say, what does that mean? And you say, well, you take your costs of what your raw materials and then your fixed expenses like your labor and paying for things like that. And then you do a reasonable markup, and that's what sets your price. It's a formula. It's not what is brand X doing, we're going to sell it for 5 cents less. Because there's no formula there other than you're trying to focus on beating the other person or entity on price. And to me, for us, that's not a thing.
Right.
It's not a thing. So when we opened, and when many people said that place will never make it because they sell really expensive coffee, yeah. Why is our coffee priced the way it is? Well, because it's unique and you can't get it every place else. Now, with that being said, most recently, I stopped off at a regular convenience store and I got a cup of coffee. And when I went to check out, I was in awe. And why was I in awe?
Why?
Because the price of coffee at the convenience stores has gone up dramatically. No, it's exactly the same price ours is now.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I said, when did that happen? Well, somewhere during these 8 years, that 50 cents or whatever it was when we opened.
Sure.
We don't hear those comments anymore. Once in a while, we get some reviews. People say, it's kind of spendy. My question is, compared to what?
Compared to what?
Compared to what?
Yeah.
So, sense of community, what does that mean? A culture. Really working with the local community, partnering with the schools, partnering with the business sector, making an environment available to people. Is it mandatory to come in here and buy something? No. We'd like you to. And we have to tell you, please don't bring other food products in here because of the New Mexico environmental health law.
Except if you're Luis and you bring the boiled eggs.
Well, that's different. That's a that's a dietary thing. So, you can sit here for 4 hours and work online,
Yeah.
do deals, get married, get a divorce, buy a house, do whatever, and go away and know that we're always here for you. That's the community part.
Right.
All our events that we do in the parking lot and most of them that we do abroad that we're involved with are free.
Yeah.
And, if you want to enter your car in one of our car events, sometimes there's a fee, but there's always a benefit factor to that, to a nonprofit. But yeah, so it's not about it's not about the money thing. You got to get away from that. You got to, what value, you wake up in the morning and you look at a business and you say, what value does this business provide for this community? And that's probably the biggest driver. That's the vision. That's the vision.
There's not a lot of people that go into their endeavor with that mindset.
I think it's based on exposure. I mean, how many stories do you have of people telling you, oh, I cook the best this, or my family says I make the best pie, so I need to open up a bakery. A lot of people do that, right? I should do a business. No. What I tell them, go work in a bakery.
Yeah.
And after you're done working in a bakery for about 6 months, then come back and see me. And no one has ever come back. Because it's not the Food Network, you're going to be Master Chef. It's a whole, and we know Food Network stars, local.
Right.
They're great people,
Right.
but they bust their butt.
And
they're out there grinding. Marie down at Bocadillos and Chef Mike Percio, who's working corporate for Laguna Corporation now. I mean, these guys, they worked 18, 24 hours, 8 weeks in a row, all that kind of stuff. It's a different game. It's totally a different game. But my advice or my story is decide what value you're going to bring your community and see if your concept fits into that space. That's all I got. Thank you, Matt, for asking me that question.
No, that was awesome.
He's like, wow, that guy can talk.
I'm like, you're like one of these people that make me look like I'm short-winded.
I often like seeking people that talk more than me because I'm just enamored with them. Look at him go.
Yeah, that's I'm looking at you, and I'm like, wow. I'm a man of few words.
Long-winded.
Yeah. No,
Sorry.
but, I mean, I think I think you hit on the sense of community thing. That was really important. But also, before we maybe talk a little bit about sense of community, and we talk about small business Saturday, and
Absolutely.
I'd also say it's thank you because you taught me about better coffee. And for someone who became a beer snob in adulthood,
It's a big crossover there.
you put it in the context of it's like better beer. Like you got the original stuff, but in all seriousness, you really opened my eyes to what better coffee is.
Awesome.
Versus call it corporate coffee versus mass produced coffee.
Right.
And yeah, I mean I still drink a lot of that stuff, but it's like this is that side of just good coffee and understanding
That's awesome.
where your coffee comes from and all those things and thinking about that aspect of it as well. So, but I think, I also think it was really neat that you did, and you hit on this, but the event side,
Yep.
you never really did, you never did the traditional advertising, the kind of the
There's no
standard.
budget for it.
And so you created, and it's the proverbial, air quotes, word of mouth.
Guerrilla marketing.
Through these events and just doing really unique things to draw people into your place of business,
Right.
and draw people up the hill into Rio Rancho in that process.
Yeah.
So it's been very cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm watching Matt. He keeps looking at these videos because he hadn't been in a while.
Right.
So we have some really great. We're
Yeah.
fortunate to get some really great event videos.
You've got some good videos
that-
up there now. Those are some new videos too, right?
Yeah, new videos of events that we have done. So yeah, it's kind of distracting, but no, it's. I think it's important. It's important to be plugged into the community if you want to be sustainable. How many times do we run across a business and say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know this was here"? We still get that. We still get 20% new customers every single day. And Marie's nice to walk them off the ceiling and say, well, okay, well, how many drinks do you make? Well, we make 1,200 different drink combinations. And they're like, it's too much. So, you just have to orientate yourself, your elevator, your value proposition statement upon first. Customers are going to go away. Some people are going to outgrow you. Some people, their doctor tells them they can't have this or that, so they just stay away from your shop. So you have to cultivate that inbound. It's just like a city, right? If you don't make yourself presentable, approachable, and attainable to new residents,
Right.
you know they're leaving. So what are you going to do on the inside? So it's a life cycle of business and development. And I think Matt knows that very well. He mentioned the different aspects of economic development, and one of them is development, which I see as sustainability. That's an investment in sustainability. How do we keep the current businesses that are here doing well?
Right.
And that's huge. You
You got to help them, grow.
Give them a little water like a plant.
Help them grow, scale, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's
exactly.
tons and tons and tons of resources for that. In fact, you and I were talking about those earlier.
Right.
If you are an entrepreneur, there is help at
There are
every
resources right before the
corner.
show. We were talking about
Yep.
this.
At
And we were talking
every
about
corner.
Small Business Association has a vibrant program. It's national level. You can go online and then find
Right.
whichever location you want to go to. And the same with this business here, to tie in. I participated in the West program, and for the listeners that don't know what that is, it's
awesome.
a business content expert development mentorship program. And one of the first things they do is they say, okay, it sounds like a great idea. Come back next week with your business plan for review. And you go back the next week and you hand them the business plan, and then they kick you out. You don't get to sit there. So they take another week to review it.
Right.
And then they schedule a review. And that's where the rubber meets the road.
Right.
Because they're not within your circle of influence. They're objective, and they come with all this horsepower from the other side. They may share it with other content experts or business individuals that have a certain acumen in a certain aspect. And I got to tell you, when I sat down with mine, they said everything makes sense. You understand this food and beverage business quite a bit, but based on your background, that doesn't surprise us. But we have a problem with this portion. And guess which problem they had with my business plan for this concept?
What's that?
The marketing.
Really?
They didn't understand it because they were not plugged in to social media and web marketing.
Right.
And they said, we think this is great, but you really need to rethink that section.
Wow.
And I politely disagreed and went on my way. And about 4 years after, the mentor sent me a message on social media and said, hey, that social media thing seems to be working for you. And that's the last I ever heard of the gentleman.
That's it.
But it was nice.
But I
It
mean,
was nice.
I think about the car side of it as an example too. Just
Yeah,
the
automotive
coffees and
events.
cars.
Yeah.
You plugged into sub communities, if we want to call them, or subcultures, or niche groups, however you want,
Right,
whatever
right.
term you want to,
Right,
however you
right.
want to define that. And that was a really important way for you to touch people and bring in a lot of people and expose your business.
Absolutely.
You know,
different clientele.
yeah.
Yeah. What do groups like that need? Well, they need hosted venues
Right.
that are safe, that they're allowed to be at.
Yeah.
And a lot of organizations don't get that. They want to meet up in parking lots of major brands where they're not authorized and they get kicked out, and it creates all this dissent and hassle, and the cops show up and all that. So, and it's just a different time. So, yeah, we do host those events. These are called hosted events. This is private property that's open to the public as opposed to public property. So there's some management aspects there. But yeah, it's really nice to be able to host those kinds of meetups.
Well,
it's
and
really great.
you bring new customers to your door,
Even non-coffee drinkers.
non-coffee drinkers, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, because believe it or not, coffee is not a thing for everybody.
Yeah.
I still get choked up when I say that, but yeah, it's true. Matt. No, but it's single malt whiskeys, cigars, teas, local microbrews. Everybody has something that they like.
Sure.
And I say this a lot. A craft beer drinker or enthusiast that maybe goes up to Marble a lot and likes to do all those activities, the brewery activities. They're not going to walk into a restaurant and say, "Hey, give me a Bud Light." That stays with them.
Right.
You're not going to go to their house and find Bud Light in their fridge. So the crossover is they've refined their palate along with the food that they find at the breweries, the food trucks, and the gastro food, and then they come in here and say, "Well, what do you got?"
Yeah.
Well, they're not looking for the cheapest. They're not looking for the darkest roast. They're looking for something that they enjoy because they've kind of had an awareness to their palate.
Your palate evolves, and it starts to influence
Yep.
other things that you consume as well.
Yeah, because I'm sure you enjoyed bubble yum when you were a kid. It's probably not your number one thing in the morning like it was when you were 8, right? Things change.
How do you know?
You might like anchovies now. And when you're a kid, you're like, anchovies?
Anchovies,
Ew,
yeah.
salty dead fish.
Yeah, I'm still passing on anchovies.
Yeah, I'm still passing on that one too.
You'd
But
be
the bubble yum,
surprised. Yeah.
I can still get down with that in the morning.
You could
oh
feel,
man,
you could
feel the sugar.
when you
There's actually, if you some of the stores, you'll see some retro packs of
Yeah.
bazooka.
Yeah.
Bazooka.
Oh, bazooka. Yeah.
There's retro packs of bazooka on it. They say
yeah.
the original bazooka or something like that. They don't use the
Yeah,
word
it's
retro.
not the
but-
one that you can like use
hard on the
for a
rock.
tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Cool. So, Matt, what kind of questions do you have for us in the show, or what's going on? Give us some more. Small Business Saturday. What's going on with that?
Let me ask you this: how can this show best be a resource for you in the work that you set out to do here in Rio Rancho?
First of all, thanks for the invitation.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I think and the simplest form, the most important thing is, keep local community, local business top of mind. There's lots of reasons, you guys call us, the Rio Rancho B2B network. There's lots of reasons why something somewhere needs to be sourced, purchased, partnered with a major corporation, purchased online, things of that sort. But, when and where, keep that thought, first and foremost of, hey, is there someone local with whom I can do this that meets the same quality standards, the same, what I'm trying to accomplish? I know there's an ease of buying things on certain .com websites,
Right.
Whether that's supplies, but we can grow together. I think the other piece of it is, when no idea is a bad idea. I mean, part of my job and different roles in economic development is you got to filter. You got to process a certain amount of information.
Yes.
You need a certain amount of quantity to get the quality. So I mean, if folks have ideas on what just around what you call a business growth, business development opportunity. You want to kick it around and see if there's a role and a place for the local economic development organizations, the city, to be part of that. Definitely open ears at all times. And then as we think about B2B networks and I think it's an important opportunity as well is how do we build our value chains? Those partner networks, whether those are suppliers, upstream suppliers, downstream, customers, and thinking about and having, your ears to the ground on what opportunities exist. And, lots of times you get referrals from people who are like, hey, I have a supplier who is located in another state and they're looking to grow. They need a facility in the West Coast. They need a facility west of the Mississippi because all the products coming out of the East Coast right now. Hey, and they really didn't have, maybe New Mexico can be on their radar screen for the location of their next
Absolutely.
next plant.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just need a sales office, but that sales office is going to employ 8 people. I mean, there's things like that. So keep all that in mind. The next piece, you just brought up, Michael, Small Business Saturday, and this is, it's got to be 7-8 years now. I got asked this question the other day, and I got to look exactly in my old files, but it's been 7-8 years now that we
pioneered it.
Yeah, we pushed it
For Rio Rancho. We made it a thing.
Yeah, and I think Small Business Saturday is a concept supported by American Express, who's been the big backer, goes back 10 years now. I think this is their 10th year.
Yeah.
It's been 7 or 8 years that we started to push it locally here in Rio Rancho, and there's lots of ways to participate. For local businesses and also for consumers, and Michael's doing a lot to push some things out on social media, so plug into that. One of the biggest things I would encourage people to think about when it comes to Small Business Saturday is it's not just November 30th.
Right.
And November 30th is a day.
See you next year.
Yeah. I'm back to shopping with the Fortune 500.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, hey, I spend a lot of money with the Fortune 500. I acknowledge that.
No, good point.
But it's, hey, it's like any other, whether we talk about in the context of like a Memorial Day or a Veterans Day, we're celebrating certain things and recognizing certain things in our history on that day. But those are thoughts that we should carry with them. Remember them throughout the year, right? And same thing on, so November 30th is a day to, hey, think small, and we all know it came from the origins of after Black Friday.
Right.
It was on the heels of Black Friday.
Sure.
And we have a lot of neat businesses, socially minded businesses, companies that really prioritize their ESG goals. Are closing on Black Friday now. REI is a great example of a company that closes on Black Friday. Yeah. But this is an opportunity to celebrate what we have, and we have great local food, we have great local coffee, we have great local merchants. We have think about someone like Harris Jewelers. I mean, they're people that are leaders in their space.
Yeah, tons of small businesses.
And so just think about that. And when you think about non-traditional gifts as well, I mean, go pick up some business, some gift cards at some of the local businesses and use them as stocking stuffers.
Right.
I do that a lot with like my colleagues. I give out Christmas cards. I'll get a bunch of $10 gift cards from different places around Rio Rancho, and that's what I give them.
Yeah.
As they're with their holiday card. $10 gift card to get coffee at Cafe Bella's or lunch somewhere. So
there's a great business opportunity for somebody there.
Imagine that.
But there's going to be a lot happening around November 30th. Stay plugged in, on social media. Look at some of the traditional mass media outlets as well. And just on that weekend, as you go into the holiday shopping, think about how you can support Rio Rancho businesses. Maybe you want to buy your favorite someone a new car, and you go down to Don Chalmers and buy them a new car. Or maybe not as fancy. They just need an oil change. You get your oil change done down there. But,
or Rand Motors. It's a small independent.
Let me give you my wife's number, and you can pass that. You ought to buy your husband a new car.
Oh, I thought it was going the other way around.
No.
Let me give you that. Let me give you that card so you can tell my wife I'm going to buy her a new car. Isn't that what you said, Louis?
Yeah, that's not what I said. But you're absolutely right, and I know that you have been instrumental in really making that push out here. In several different ways, right? You
can't stop. You always have to keep going.
You can't stop.
It's not a once a year thing, like Matt said.
You've turned it up, and you've created different platforms for it. But one thing that has remained is that you're consistent.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. This isn't about me, but
at least that white piece of hair up there is consistent.
Yeah, my kids gave me that. But something fun to do if the listeners that are out there and they like to do social media, they find us on social media. A fun thing to do that I've done for a number of years is when you shop local, check in and post up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you would be amazed how many people chime in or how many people in your influence circle you can bring to awareness of this great thing.
Yeah.
I love doing that, and it's amazing how many people interact on the string and say, hey, how is that place? Or, oh, we've been trying to get there.
Yeah.
And I usually say something like, well, don't try, get down here. Or
Stop with the excuses, right?
Well, and it's
Remember,
interesting.
remember Art from the CVB?
Oh, I
He would
yeah.
say, get the lead out.
Yeah.
Get the
Get
lead
the lead out. And get
Art's
it
a big old school car guy too. But
No, you know what? That's really a powerful message for the constituents, the residents here in Rio Rancho.
Right.
If there's any one thing that you can do to really support local, do that. Do that. Go to one local place. Make a commitment to go
right now. That red truck right
The red
there.
truck,
That is DeVito's Pizza delivering us our proprietary focaccia that he makes only for us.
Is that right?
Himself. That's the owner of the micro business walking in there, and he brings us that product, and nobody else has it, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Wait, what is it?
But it's focaccia bread. That's what we make our sandwiches out of. And look at him. It just came out. Ate it. Nice. So, when I go to his place, I check in and I take a picture of what I get there.
Right.
And people just go ballistic. He's the one that does those little pizza pinwheels.
Yeah.
It's not on your food plan.
It's not.
But Matt has seen them. Barbecue chicken pizza. They're like savory cinnamon rolls. You get
Really?
a bite of everything. Yeah, look at you. You're like, oh, I wish that was
Hey,
in my
call that
meal
guy
plan.
back over here.
It's good pizza.
Anyway,
It's really
great.
good pizza.
Yeah, he makes the dough from scratch every day. He's
Yeah.
super small business,
Yeah.
micro business. But this guy takes the time out of his day. In this relationship, this is a wholesale thing. He comes in his own truck to deliver us fresh product.
Wow.
So when I go to his business, heck yeah, I post up and say, shop small, shop local, I love Rio Rancho, and put a picture, because that's who I want to support. That gentleman right there.
And one of the perks of living in Cabazon is it's like 4 minutes away from getting a hot, fresh pizza home.
You could bike there.
You can
put
bike
it in a
there.
bike pack in the back, or eat it all there.
You can also call Uber Eats too, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I don't know. Different entities do different associations.
things.
Yeah, but
So-
he has a delivery team.
Yep.
You can call for delivery.
Call
yeah.
for
Does he?
Delivery?
Yeah.
Maybe you got his number. I might call him right now.
Yeah. I'll get it to you.
It is lunchtime, isn't it? Somewhere,
Almost.
right?
Almost.
Let's do that. What are the hashtags that you want people to use for?
Well,
okay,
we're-
shop small.
Yeah. So let's be clear here. So Small Business Saturday
Right.
is not a Cafe Bella thing. We're
Right.
participating in a larger national thing by American Express, and they have intellectual property rights on hashtag Shop Small. And also Small Business Sat. They have intellectual property rights. We like to throw in hashtags like Shop Local, hashtag Shop Local, and use them in combinations. So those
Do
three.
you add in the RR to that?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes I
And
do.
you can always tag the mayor.
Yeah,
And
you can tag anybody.
He loves getting tagged. So
Yeah.
tag Mayor Hall.
Yeah. So tell
How
your
about you?
stories.
Oh wait,
wait,
there is no tagging on LinkedIn. No, there is tagging
Yeah,
on
but
LinkedIn.
like I said, I'm kind of like a,
He's got to be neutral.
I'm a little bit of a, social
drama.
media hermit.
Maybe you're just
we'll work on
waiting
that.
for it to get better.
So
I'm waiting for MySpace to come back.
There you
Ah.
go. Hey, you know what? That could be a thing. That could totally be a thing.
it could be
It
a
could
thing.
be a thing. Absolutely.
It could.
It should be a thing. You're
Yeah.
It could.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it
It's
is.
gotta go. It's time to go.
It is time for us to go. In addition to that, let's also look at the hashtags that you want for people to post up and check in.
Where at? Here? Everywhere?
Everywhere.
Everywhere?
Everywhere
I would
in Rio
say
Rancho.
shop small, shop local, small biz sat.
Okay,
Do
let's
it.
let's get them up on the show notes there. If you're in Rio Rancho, your goal for this week is to visit at least one locally owned business,
Do it.
and you are to post a picture of
Mandated.
either the facilities, the business, or yourself in the business, and use the hashtag. What's the hashtag, Michael?
Shop small.
Shop Small RR.
There you go.
Shop Small RR.
There you go.
We'll check it out. We'll come back in a couple of weeks. We'll look at what kind of activity all you wonderful people have had here in the beautiful city of Rio Rancho. Rio Rancho.
Rio Rancho. Well, Matt, thank you for your time. I know you got to go. You probably have 27 other meetings. And Luis and I are in trouble with our producer. And
You getting the stink eye
that's
from your
it.
producer?
Well, yeah, she's not here, and so we're like, yeah, we're doing the 2-hour show today.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in big trouble, huh?
Pack it up.
Yeah,
Gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Take it
All
away,
right.
Luis.
We're going to take it away. I'm just going to leave you guys just with that here. I certainly do appreciate you guys. I know it's a little bit longer than what we normally do, but hey, you know what? Always good information. If you want to get connected, please visit us at Rio Rancho B2B, the network. You can reach out to Michael Gonzalez right here at Cafe Bella, or myself, Luis Hernandez, Go ABQ Community Marketing Platform. If you are a small business and you need to get the word out about who you are and what you do, call Lou. Enough said.